Check 1, 2. Check 1 and 2. This is mic number 1. And just in case we need it, check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. This is mic number 2. right, one final check here. Check 1-2, check 1-2. Mount Union women's basketball. And we are coming to you live from the McPherson Academic and Athletic Complex here on the beautiful campus of the University of Mount Union. You are tuned in to Purple Raider women's basketball, game number 2 of today's basketball doubleheader here on the live stream as your Mount Union Purple Raiders play host to the Ohio Northern Polar Bears. Hello everyone, my name is Jacob Batar, and I'm here bringing you all the action here this afternoon as your Purple Raiders look to get above 500 with the victory today over the Polar Bears. First, let's take a look at Ohio Northern, who comes into today's contest with a 6-1 record overall. They are 2-0 in the OAC so far this season. They defeated Wilmington their last time out 57-52, and in that victory, Brooke Allen had 18 points and 7 rebounds, while Casey Nippen had 14 points and 6 rebounds, and Bryn Servin stuffed the stat sheet with 9 points, 8 rebounds, and 5 assists as the Polar Bears held Wilmington to just 30% from the floor. Bryn Servin is the leading scorer this season for the Polar Bears, averaging 12.6 points per game. She's also averaging 7.1 rebounds per game and 4.7 assists as the Polar Bears are averaging 60 points per game as a team and holding opponents to just 51 points per game. They're also holding opponents to just 30% from the floor all season long, as this defense has been great to start the season. And taking a look now at your Purple Raider women's basketball team, Mount Union's coming in off a loss to John Carroll, 64-63, a very close one up in University Heights. The Purple Raiders are 4-4 on the season, 1-1 in OAC play, as in the close loss to John Carroll, Allie Hudick had 21 points, while Haley Haywood had 11 points for the Raiders. The Raiders lost on a last-second free throw with 4 seconds left as the team was out-rebounded 50-24 by JCU, although they did force 20 Blue Streak turnovers, and the team made 11 three-pointers as a whole, as Gretchen Koken so far this season has been the leading scorer for the Raiders this year, averaging 12 points per game to go along with 7.4 rebounds. Allie Hudick is second in that category with 11.5 points per game, as the Raider offense has been cooking so far this season, averaging 74.4 points per game, giving up just 66.6, as the Raiders are going to look to pick up a victory here today in OAC play and prove to above 500 in both the OAC record category and also their own personal record. But we will see here as the Purple Raider women's basketball team We'll get set here momentarily to tip things off with Ohio Northern. We're going to take a short break here on the live stream as we prepare for the national anthem. Then we'll be back momentarily. 4 starting lineups here between your Mount Union Purple Raiders and the Ohio Northern Polar Bears. And we are back here on the women's basketball live stream getting you ready for today's matchup between your Mount Union Purple Raiders and the Ohio Northern Polar Bears. Let's take a look at starting lineups here tonight for both squads. First for the visiting Polar Bears, who are led by head coach Mark Hulsman, and their starting lineup consists of the senior guard, number 3, Bryn Serban, hailing from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Another guard starting here tonight, the senior from Otterville, Ohio, number 10, Casey Nippen. Number 12, the sophomore guard from Willard, Ohio, Layla Giles also gets to start here tonight. The sophomore guard all the way from Lahaina, Hawaii, number 13, Abby Ackerman, also getting to start here tonight. And lastly, rounding out that starting 5 for the Polar Bears is the forward, number 32, Kristen Lewisman, the junior from Fort Jennings, Ohio. Now taking a look at your Mount Union Purple Raiders, they as always are led by head coach Susie Bennett, who is in her 18th season at the helm here at the University of Mount Union. Their starting lineup consists of the senior forward from Harmony, Pennsylvania, the team's leading scorer so far this season, number 4, Gretchen Koken. The senior guard from Dalton, Ohio, number 5, Emma Cannon, also getting a start here tonight. The freshman forward from Harrison Central High School in Cadiz, Ohio, number 12, Michaela Dunkel, my apologies. Also getting a start here tonight is the freshman guard from Wadsworth, Ohio, number 14, Bailey Schutza. And lastly, rounding out that starting 5 is the sophomore guard from Lake Catholic High School in Mentor, Ohio, number 25, Allie Hudick. As the Purple Raiders get set to do battle here with the Ohio Northern Polar Bears. Like I mentioned, the Polar Bears off to a fast start this season. As they're at 6-1, they are currently second in the OAC, one of 3 teams with a 2-0 record in OAC play. John Carroll, Baldwin Wells, the other 2, as the Yellow Jackets are the only team off to a 7-0 record so far this season in the women's basketball, as Mount Union is currently sitting around 6th place in the early OAC standings with the 4-4 record and the 1-1 record in conference play. It's been a busy day here today at the University of Mount Union athletics-wise, as the men's basketball team pulled off an 89-71 victory over Ohio Northern in the first of 2 games today, and the football team coming away with a 34-31 victory over Wartburg. But we are underway here now at the MAC as Emma Cannon at the top of the key puts her on the floor, and Cannon looks to swing that ball out. It's tipped into the hands of Schutza, as Koken now looks to drive baseline, swings it back out to Schutza, who fires up a 3, in and out, no good. Rebound goes to Emma Cannon as the Raiders have a fresh 20 on the shot clock. Hudick now with it, gives it up to Emma Cannon on the perimeter as Cannon gives it up to Schutza now. Schutza now gives it up to Koken, 10 seconds on the shot clock for the Raiders. As Koken will give it up to Hudick on the perimeter. 5 seconds, Hudick fires up a contested 3, no good. Fight for the rebound, and the Polar Bears come away with it. So it'll be Layla Dials bringing it up the floor for Ohio Northern. She gives it up to Lewisman at the top of the key. Back over to Dials now as Lewisman sets the screen. Looks to drive here. Now feeds Lewisman down low inside. Lewisman swings it back as they move the ball around the perimeter once more. 8 seconds on the shot clock here. Need to get a shot up here on the Polar Bears. And a whistle as Abby Ackerman drives, and they're going to call a charging foul on Ackerman as she gets the layup to go. It's going to be waved off as the Raiders draw the offensive foul. So a nice job right there by Mount Union. There's an early substitution here as well. Number 14, Mackenzie Soprano, the freshman from Waterford, Ohio, checks in for the first time this afternoon for the Polar Bears. Is at the other end. Emma Cannon gets the scoring going tonight for Mount Union. She hits the three. It's 3-0 Raiders. ONU will walk it up the floor here. As Soprano now with it. As they swing the ball around the perimeter. Raiders come out here in a zone. Now at the top of the key, Soprano fresh off the bench. Gets the three-pointer to go. A nice response by the Polar Bears, tying things up here at 3. So Bailey Schutza now with it. Brings the ball up the floor for the Raiders. Looks to drive, goes into the paint. Loses control of the ball, however. And that ball goes out of bounds. It'll head to the Polar Bears here. 3-3 tie, 8:09 left to go here in this first quarter. So Layla Dials will inbound it here as the Raiders apply pressure in the backcourt. Hewitt comes away with the steal momentarily, but Dials comes back away with it here for Ohio Northern. The other way, Soprano gives it up to Luersman in transition. Can't get the layup to go. Follows her own shot, however, and swings it out to Bryn Serbin. Serbin now puts it on the floor, gives it back to Luersman, who swings it around the perimeter. As Casey Nippen now with it, takes a screen from Luersman, fires up a shot from the free throw line and gets it to go. The Polar Bears take their first lead of the game. It's 5-3 ONU here as Emma Cannon now with it. She looks to drive, puts the ball on the floor here. Picks up her dribble now. And nearly a 5-second call here is Michaela Dunkel now with it. Dunkel swings it back to Gretchen Koken. As Koken now thought about the three, instead pulls it back to Schutza. 7 seconds on the shot clock for the Raiders as Emma Cannon puts it on the floor. Needs to get a shot up here with 3 seconds. Cannon fires up the three, gets it to go. Emma Cannon, 2 threes to start this one, makes it 6-5 Mount Union. A hot start from the senior from Dalton, Ohio. The Raiders have a 1-point lead here as it's Serbin moving the ball around the perimeter. Soprano now gives it up. Nippen now with it. So they move the ball back inside the Luersman. She swings it around. Great ball movement here by the Polar Bears. As Dials goes up for the contested layup. Can't get it to go. Rebound goes to Hudick. Hewitt pushes the pace for the Raiders. She goes up to Emma Cannon, who pump fakes, goes up for the layup. Can't quite get it to go. No foul called there. As a fight for possession. Raiders tie it up for a jump ball. Possession arrow though in favor of the Polar Bears. So it'll remain Ohio Northern basketball here. Grace Dean checks in for the first time this afternoon for Ohio Northern. For the Purple Raiders, it'll be Audrey Livesay and Day-Day Nash seeing their first action here today. 6:38 left to go in this first quarter. Mount Union holding on to the 6-5 lead. Madison Hensley, a late substitution as well here for Mount Union. So Luersman gets set to inbound it here. Luersman will now bring it up the floor with the Raiders applying some pressure in the backcourt. Cannon comes over to trap momentarily while Soprano looks to drive, goes up for the shot. And a nice strong take there by the freshman guard, and Mackenzie Soprano is going to head to the line now for 2. As Haley Haywood checks into the game now for the Purple Raiders. That last foul call was on number 22, Madison Hensley, her first, team's first. So Mackenzie Soprano's first free throw is up. No good. Score will remain 6-5 here, 6:30 left to go in the quarter. And Soprano's second free throw is no good as well. Mount Union will hold on to that 1-point lead as Hensley grabs the rebound and pushes the pace right away. Gives it up to Haley Haywood now, who feeds Emma Cannon down low in the post. Cannon looking to go to work, goes up for the shot. Can't quite get it to go. Rebound goes to Soprano. Soprano looks to give Ohio Northern the lead back here as Serbin feeds it down low inside to Grace Dean, who goes up for the contested hook shot. No good. Follows her own miss. Grabs the ball. And Serbin now has it on the perimeter. Fires up a three. And Bryn Serbin gives the Polar Bears the 8-6 lead. Raiders continue to push the pace here, though, as Day-Day Nash swings it in the corner to Hensley. Back over to Nash as they swing it back over to Haley Haywood. Emma Cannon now with it. Will fire up a contested shot here. Can't quite get it to go. Rebound to the Polar Bears. So Ohio Northern holding on to that 2-point lead. Bryn Serbin has it. So Raiders go back into a man-to-man defense here. As Luersman now swings it out on the perimeter. Soprano fires up the three. Gets the friendly bounce off the front of the rim. And Ohio Northern Makes it 11-6 via the Mackenzie Soprano 3. As at the other end, it's Hensley who fires up the 3, can't get it to go. Fight for the rebound. Livesey tied up with Bryn Serbin. It's going to be a jump ball possession arrow in favor of the Raiders. Hallie Ignacio checks in for the first time this afternoon for Mount Union. And for Ohio Northern, Casey Nippen checks back in. Jada Benjamin, see her first action here this afternoon. Day Nash swings it up top to Haley Haywood. Haywood now feeds Livesey down low, swings it back out to Nash. Nash looks to drive baseline, met closely here by Serbin, fires it out to Livesey, who fires up a 3, can't get it to go. Rebound to Bryn Serbin. Serbin walks it up the floor now for Ohio Northern, now pushing the pace. Nice pass down low inside to Grace Dean, who gets to the rim for 2. And the Polar Bears on an 8-0 run here on top now 13-6. Madison Hensley loses possession at the other end, but Day Nash picks it up for the Raiders. Nash will give this up to Haywood, who thought about the 3, instead swings it over to Ignacio. Ignacio now gives it up to Hensley. Hensley tries to feed Livesey down low inside, but it's tipped back out to Madison as she takes it to the rim and gets it to go. Madison Hensley makes it 13-8, Ohio Northern. So Bryn Serbin here, guarded closely by Day Nash in the backcourt. They give it up to Nippen. Nippen, extra pass over to Benjamin, who steps into a wide open 3. Can't get it to go, however. Rebound goes to Haley Haywood. Raiders continue to try to push the pace here as Day Nash now with it. Pulls it out here, gives it up to Haywood. Haywood steps into a 3. It's short. Ignacio, though, comes up with the rebound. However, Grace Dean's there for Ohio Northern. 3:49 and ticking left to go here in this first quarter. It's Bryn Serbin for the Polar Bears. Looking to drive, goes up for the shot, and she's going to draw the whistle here. So Bryn Serbin, the team's leading scorer so far this season, is going to draw the personal here. I do believe that's going on Madison Hensley, and it is indeed for her second personal, second team foul of the quarter. Ohio Northern with some substitutions here. Layla Dials checks back in. Brooke Allen sees her first action here this afternoon. For Mount Union, it's Sierra Schlosser checking in for her first action here this afternoon. Gretchen Koken and Bailey Schutza also return here for the Raiders. Serbin's first free throw is up and good, makes the score 14-8. Serbin's second free throw is up and no good this time. Splits the pair. It's 14-8 in favor of the Polar Bears as Haley Haywood swings it in the corner to Schutza. Thought about the 3, now steps into a mid-range that's short. Rebound goes to Haley Haywood here, however. So the Raiders feed it down low inside to Koken, who draws a triple team and loses possession of the ball here. Polar Bears looking to come the other way with it and add on to their lead. As Dials now at the Mount Union logo. It's guarded closely here by Ignacio. Gives it up top to Brooke Allen. Allen swings it over to Serbin. Serbin now puts it on the floor, steps into a 3, gets it to go. Bryn Serbin with 7 points, makes it 17-8 Polar Bears. So Schutza now brings it up for the Raiders, gives it up to Ignacio. Over to Gretchen Koken. Back over to Ignacio they go. As Ignacio here now gives it up to Koken once more at the top of the key. Koken swings it over to Schlosser, who steps into a 3, can't quite get it to go. Rebound to the Polar Bears. Ohio Northern holding on to this 9-point advantage. Currently on a 12-2 run to open up this lead. Brooke Allen now on the perimeter, hands it off to Serbin, steps into another 3 and hits another 3. Bryn Serbin, 10 Polar Bear points so far in this one. It's 20-8 in favor of Ohio Northern. Timeout on the floor here for the Raiders. 2:27 left to go in this first quarter. And it's been all Ohio Northern so far in this one, on top 20-8. Just taking a look at some early stats here. The Polar Bears are now shooting 7 for 11 from the floor. That's good for 63%. They're also shooting 5 for 6 from the three-point line. That's good for 83% from downtown so far. Just 1 for 4 from the free throw line, but they're already out rebounding Mount Union as well. 9-7 is in this one, as the Purple Raider offense has struggled so far here today. They're shooting just 3 for 13, good for 23% from the floor. 2 for 9 from downtown as well are the Purple Raiders, good for 22%. They have yet to attempt a free throw in this one. Allie Hudick checks back in for the Purple Raiders. Off the last timeout, as does Michaela Dunkel. As Haley Haywood now feeds it down low inside to Koken. Koken swings it over to Schutza, who steps into an open three. That's short. Fight for the rebound. Koken dives on the floor for it. Pushed from behind the last say. It's off the Polar Bears. Will remain Purple Raider basketball. It's Emma Cannon checks in here for the Purple Raiders once more. So the Raiders running now with their starting five out on the floor. So Abby Ackerman also checked in for Ohio Northern off that last timeout. It's Michaela Dunkel now with it. Feeds it down low inside to Koken. Koken looking to go to work. Goes up for the shot. And the first 2 points of the afternoon for Gretchen Koken. 20-10 in favor of the Polar Bears here. Minute 52 left to go in this first quarter. So it'll be Lewisman giving it up to Brooke Allen here in the high post. Allen fakes the handoff to Ackerman, instead gives it to Serban. Serban steps into yet another three. This time it's short. Rebound goes to Schutza. Schutza pushes the pace here for Mountain Union, gives it up to Gretchen Koken. Koken swings it back over to Schutza as they swing the ball around the perimeter to Hudick. Hudick now gives it up to Koken. Koken with 17 on the shot clock will give it up to Schutza. Schutza now gives it up to Emma Cannon, but a whistle away from the ball. And it's going to be a foul here on the Purple Raiders. Michaela Dunkel gets whistled for the personal. Her first, team's third. Ball goes back here to Ohio Northern. Mackenzie Soprano re-enters the ball game. Peyton Warnicki checks in for her first action this afternoon. So it'll be Layla Dials here, drawing the double team. They break this press here. Lewisman now swings it around to Soprano, over to Dials, back to Soprano. Great ball movement as she steps into a three. Can't get it to go. Offensive rebound goes to Lewisman, who goes up for the shot. She can't get it to go. Warnicki, though, third possession here now for Ohio Northern. So around the perimeter they go. Ackerman now looks to drive, goes up for the shot, and Ackerman, nice strong take, draws the personal here. That one's going on Gretchen Koken, her first, team's fourth. Abby Ackerman has a chance to extend this Ohio Northern lead here. .54 seconds left to go here in this first quarter. 20-10 in favor of Ohio Northern. It's Ackerman's first free throw is up and good. 21-10 Polar Bears. And Ackerman's second free throw is good as well. Ohio Northern on top, 22-10, as Schutza brings it up the floor here. Schutza now hands it off to Hudick. Hudick takes the screen from Koken. Now gives it up on the perimeter to Dunkel as they move it back to Emma Cannon. Cannon now steps back for another three. This one's short. Rebound goes to Gretchen Koken, however. Shot clock not reset here, as Schutza now grabs it at the top of the key, gives it back to Cannon. 7 seconds on the shot clock as Cannon swings it over to Hudick. Down low inside they go to Koken. 3 seconds on the shot clock, draws the triple team. 1 second, Dunkel fires at the shot. Doesn't hit the rim. It's a shot clock violation. Ball goes back here to the Polar Bears. 22 seconds left to go in the quarter. The shot clock is turned off. So it'll be Layla Dials bringing the ball up the floor here. So no rush for Ohio Northern as they hold the ball for what is likely the final shot of this quarter. Ackerman now draws a double team on the perimeter, looks to drive, tried to get that to Lewisman, but stolen by Koken. 5 seconds on the shot clock as Koken now steps into a transition three. Can't get it to go. Rebound to Hudick, and she puts it in. They will count it, Allie Hudick. It wasn't an easy quarter right there for the Raider offense, but Hudick gets the final two for the Purple Raiders right before that buzzer sounds. And at the end of one, Mountain Union trails in this one by a score of 22-12. As the Raiders held a lead early in this one, but Ohio Northern really stepped up defensively, as the Raiders were held to just 26% shooting in that quarter, 18% overall from downtown. Meanwhile, Ohio Northern 50% from the floor, 62% from downtown in the quarter. Other than that, though, it's been a fairly even battle here today. Ohio Northern just out-rebounding Mountain Union by 1 in that first quarter. Each team's with 2 turnovers in that quarter as well. So really, this Ohio Northern defense has come to play here today. But Mountain Union finds themselves trailing by 10 here, 22-12. Leading scorer for the Raiders in that first quarter was Emma Cannon. She had 6 points on 2 3-pointers. Gretchen Koken, Allie Hudick, and Madison Hensley each with 2 points for the Purple Raiders in that quarter. Bryn Serbin had 10 points for the Polar Bears in the quarter, courtesy of 3 3-pointers. Mackenzie Soprano hit the other 2 3-pointers for the Polar Bears in that quarter, as she has 6 points for Ohio Northern, who has possession here to start the quarter. Layla Dials, Abby Ackerman, Peyton Warnicki, Kristen Luersman, and lastly Mackenzie Soprano out there for Ohio Northern. As it's the Raiders starting 5 with Haley Haywood in the ball game instead of Gretchen Koken here to start things off for the Purple Raiders. As Dials feeds it up in the high post to Luersman. She swings it over to Warnicki. As the Polar Bears here struggling to get a shot off, 7 seconds left. Have the ball on the perimeter is Layla Dials now. With 3 seconds on the shot clock, Dials gives up to Luersman. 1 second, fires up the 3. It's no good. Rebound to Shutza. Shutza pushes the pace, gives it up to Hudick in transition, who gives it up to Haywood in the corner. Back over to Shutza at the top of the key, puts it on the floor, swings it back over to Haley Haywood. Shutza now has it in the corner, looks to drive through 2 defenders, has that ball knocked out of bounds. Will remain Purple Raider basketball here, 15 seconds on the shot clock. Shutza inbounds it here to Hudick. And we'll give that one on up to Dunkel. Dunkel now swings it over to Shutza. Shutza looks to drive through the defense, goes up for the layup. Can't get it to go. Rebound to Warnicki. Layla Dials walks it up the floor now for Ohio Northern. On top by 10 in this one as Dials now looks to drive. Swings it out in the corner to Soprano, who fires up the 3. It's no good. Fight for the rebound. Bodies go flying on the floor here. Warnicki gets tied up with Dunkel. Possession arrow in favor of the Raiders. Substitutions here for both squads. Audrey Livesay and Day-Day Nash check back in for the Purple Raiders. So it'll be Bryn Serbin checking back in here for Ohio Northern, along with Grace Dean and Casey Nippon. Day-Day Nash now with it. Gives it up to Emma Cannon. Cannon takes a screen now from Livesay. As around the perimeter, the Raiders go with it. Hudick now looks to drive, fires up the mid-range shot, gets it to go. Allie Hudick makes it 22-14 Ohio Northern. Bryn Serbin walks it up the floor now for the Polar Bears. As they swing the ball around the perimeter here. Soprano now with it. The Raiders come out here in a 3-2 zone. Nice ball movement by the Polar Bears as Serbin steps into an open 3, and Bryn Serbin lighting up the MAC here so far today. She's got 4 3-pointers, makes it 25-14. Day-Day Nash comes the other way with it for the Raiders. Nash gives it up to Livesay, who steps into a 3 of her own. That one's too long, no good. Rebound to Ackerman as they push the pace here. As Serbin now on the perimeter looks to drive, swings it out to Grace Dean, who pump fakes, kicks it back out to Serbin, who steps into yet another 3 and hits it once again, the 5th 3-pointer of this first half for Bryn Serbin. It's 28-14. Serbin's got 16 points in the half. Haley Haywood now gives it up to Emma Cannon. Cannon now will give this one on up to Haywood. Haywood puts it on the floor, swings it back out to Hudick. Hudick steps into a 3 of her own. That one's too long, no good. Rebound goes to Ackerman. Polar Bears looking to add on to their lead here. As down low inside they go to Grace Dean, gives it out to Serbin. Serbin now looks to drive back over to Dean. Dean goes up with the floater, no good. Ball goes out of bounds. We'll go back here to the Purple Raiders. Sierra Schlosser and Gretchen Koken re-enter the ball game for Mount Union. It's been all Bryn Serbin so far in this one for the Polar Bears. 16 points, 15 of those coming via a 3-pointer here so far. As Day-Day Nash walks it up the floor for Mount Union. Raiders looking to get back in this one here. As Nash gives it up to Schlosser at the top of the key. Schlosser now gives it up to Gretchen Koken. Koken swings it on over to Emma Cannon. 9 seconds on the shot clock as Cannon gives it over to Koken. Koken tried to feed Nash down low inside, but stolen away there by the Polar Bears. Nippon comes up with the steal, gives it up to Bryn Serbin. Serbin back over to Nippon. So around the perimeter they go. Grace Dean now in the high post, hands it back off to Serbin, and Grace Dean's going to be whistled for the personal here. It's an illegal screen there for Grace Steen. Her first personal, team's first. Ball goes back here to the Purple Raiders. Layla Dials and Brooke Allen re-enter the game now for Ohio Northern. As Day Nash walks it up the floor here, hands it off to Hudick. Hudick gives it up now to Emma Cannon. Cannon swings it over to Gretchen Koken. Koken puts it on the floor, looks to drive, goes up for the layup, and gets it to go. Gretchen Koken makes it 28-16, Ohio Northern. Bryn Serban now with it. Brings it up the floor, gives it up to Dials, who's guarded here by Emma Cannon. Back over to Serban at the Mount Union logo. As Ohio Northern looks to slow things down here. Serban now looks to drive. Nice Euro step, goes up for the layup. Can't quite get it to go. However, a whistle, she draws the personal. That foul is going on Allie Hudick. Her first, team's first. Bryn Serban heads back to the free throw line here for 2. Hallie Ignacio re-enters the ball game now for Mount Union. Bryn Serban heading to the line for free throws 3 and 4. She split a pair earlier today. Hits the first, 17 points now for Serban. Makes it 29-16. And the senior from North Allegheny High School can't quite get it to go. However, a heads-up play there by Casey Nippen. She grabs the rebound, about to fall out of bounds. Throws it off Sierra Schlosser to remain Polar Bear basketball. Serban will inbound it here. And gives it up on the perimeter as they try to feed Brooke Allen down low inside, but they can't quite connect. Turnover there for the Polar Bears. Goes back here to Mount Union. Day Nash walks it up the floor for the Purple Raiders. As Nash now will give it up to Koken. Koken steps into a 3. In and out, no good. Fight for the rebound. A whistle, and it's going to be a foul going on the Purple Raiders. It's going on Day Nash, her first, team second. .5:24 left to go here in this first half. 29-16 in favor of Ohio Northern. As Soprano brings it up the floor here, draws the double team, gives it up to Serban. Serban swings it over to Nippen. Nippen extra pass in the corner to Serban. Thought about the 3, instead swings it down low inside, but a steal there by Day Nash. Nash looks to push the pace here for Mount Union, gives it up to Hudick. Can't quite catch it. It's knocked out of bounds there by Nippen. Ball will remain here with the Purple Raiders. Substitution here for Ohio Northern. Kristen Luersman re-enters the ball game. And Hudick will inbound it here. Hudick now on the perimeter. Will give it up to Ignacio. Ignacio now swings it over to Koken. Back over to Schlosser. So 13 seconds on the shot clock. Day Nash now steps into a 3 at the top of the key. Can't get it to go. Rebound to the Polar Bears. Bryn Serban once again walks it up the floor here for Ohio Northern. Gives it up to Luersman. Luersman now hands it off on the perimeter as Ohio Northern moves that ball down low inside once again here to Luersman, who goes up for the shot. Can't get it to go, but she's hit on the arm as she shoots that one by Sierra Schlosser. It's going to be Schlosser's first personal foul, 13th foul of the quarter. And the Polar Bears will head back to the line here. Abby Ackerman checks back in for Ohio Northern. Michaela Dunkel and Haley Haywood back in for your Purple Raiders. As Luersman's first free throw is up and good. And her second free throw is up and good as well. 31-16 Ohio Northern. As bodies go flying here as Day Nash brings it up the floor for the Purple Raiders, gives it up to Koken. Koken now swings it back over to Nash, who steps into a 3, can't get it to go. Rebound though to Dunkel. Raiders with the extra possession. A great backdoor cut by Gretchen Koken, and a nice find from Michaela Dunkel Makes it 31-18 Ohio Northern. So Nippon now. Swing it over to Layla Dials. Dials back over to Serbin. Serbin gives it to Lewisman in the high post. Extra pass over in the corner to Ackerman, but her foot was out of bounds. Turnover there for the Polar Bears. Bailey Schutza re-enters the ball game here for Mount Union. 3:53 left to go here in this first half. Schutza now brings the ball up the floor here. Gives it up to Dunkel. Dunkel at the top of the key gives it up to Koken. Koken down low inside, draws the double team here momentarily, goes up for the shot, gets it to go. Gretchen Koken with the Mount Union Purple Raider high, 8 points in this one. Cuts into that lead a little bit more here. It's 31-20 as in the backcourt, Bailey Schutza is going to get whistled for the reach-in foul. Much to the dismay of the Mount Union bench. That'll be Schutza's first personal foul, 4th team foul of the quarter. Ackerman will get set here to inbound. Bryn Serbin walks it up the floor now for Ohio Northern. Holding on to an 11-point advantage here. Serbin now draws the double team, feeds it down low inside. What a pass by Serbin to find Kristen Lewisman. Lewisman makes it 33-20 Polar Bears. Around the perimeter they go at the other end. Ignacio steps into a three, can't get it to go. Fight for the rebound. Koken goes down to the floor. They whistle for a jump ball. Possession arrow in favor of Ohio Northern. .303 left to go in this first half. Mount Union trailing by 13 in this one as Koken takes a seat. Madison Hensley re-enters the ballgame for the Purple Raiders. Serbin will walk it up the floor once more for Ohio Northern. Serbin will take a screen here from Kristen Lewisman. Looks to drive, goes up for the contested layup, gets it to go, and Bryn Serbin continues her dominant first half. She's got 19 points. She's got a chance for one more here at the free throw line. So that foul right there was on Bailey Schutza, her second personal. Gretchen Koken, after a quick breather, is going to get set to check back in for the Purple Raiders, but not after we have a timeout here on the floor. Mount Union currently trailing in this one by a score of 35-20 to the Ohio Northern Polar Bears. That timeout was on the Purple Raiders. They have 3 remaining here in the contest. Just taking a look, it's been all Bryn Serbin so far in this one. She has 19 points, and taking a look, she's actually already matched her career high in points just in this first half alone. So looks like well on her way, Bryn Serbin is, to really getting a new career high in points here this afternoon. It could very well be with this next free throw attempt. Season high so far for Serbin was 18 points, and their only loss of the season, a 64-60 defeat to Ohio Wesleyan back on November 22nd. But Serbin has the chance for point number 20 here in this first half. And she gets it to go. 36-20, Ohio Northern. Serbin with a new career high, 20 points in this one. Schutza walks the ball at the floor, gives it up to Ignacio. Ignacio now guarded closely by Nippon. Looks to drive, tries to swing it out to Dunkel, but it's taken away by who else? Bryn Serbin. Serbin goes the other way with it. Goes up for the Euro step. 22 points now for the senior, making it 38-20. As Ignacio here with it now. Tries to feed it down low inside, however that ball is kicked. Ball will remain here with the Purple Raiders. As Emma Cannon and Allie Hudick check back in for Mount Union. Cannon gets set to inbound it here to Schutza. Schutza takes a screen from Koken. Koken now with it. Puts it on the floor, gives it up to Emma Cannon. Cannon back out to Koken as she steps into a three. Gets it to go. Gretchen Koken, she's got 11 points now. Makes it 38-23 Polar Bears. Bryn Serbin walks it across the timeline for Ohio Northern. Slowing things down here with 2 minutes left to go in this first half. Serbin draws a double team on the perimeter as that ball is fed down low inside to Lewisman. She can't get it to go. The rebound goes to Dunkel. Raiders look to push the pace here. Shutza now gives it up to Koken. Koken on the perimeter gives it up to a cutter, and Cannon. Cannon goes up for the shot. Can't quite get it to go, but draws the whistle. Emma Cannon heading to the free throw line now for 2. And for the Purple Raiders, this will be their first time heading to the free throw line this afternoon. So Emma Cannon looks to cut into this lead for the Polar Bears. That foul on Casey Nippen, her first, team second. Cannon's first free throw is up and good. 38-24 Ohio Northern. As the senior from Dalton, Ohio, always reliable here at the free throw line, hits a pair, makes it 38-25 in favor of ONU. The Raiders apply some pressure in the backcourt here. Nearly coming away with the steal. Michaela Dunkel tried to get in the passing lane, but instead she runs into Layla Dials on that one. And Dials draws the personal. Ohio Northern is in the bonus. Dials will head to the free throw line now for 2. As Dunkel picks up her second personal foul, she heads over to the bench. Dials' first free throw is up, and it's good. 39-25 Polar Bears. Minute 36 left to go in this first half. And Dials' second free throw is good as well. 40-25 ONU. Grace Dean re-enters the ball game now for the Polar Bears. Shutza will walk it up the floor now for the Mount Union Purple Raiders. Shutza will give it up to Hudick. Hudick takes a screen from Koken, steps into a contested mid-range, can't get it to go. Rebound to Serbin. Bryn Serbin now looks to push the pace, gives it up to Nippen, who steps into a 3, can't get that one to go. Fight for the rebound, Luersman comes up with it, gives it up to Serbin, who thought about the 3. Instead gives it back to Nippen, who gives it right back to number 3, Bryn Serbin. Serbin now takes a screen, working on the perimeter here, swings it back out to Nippen, who steps into another 3. This time it's good. Casey Nippen makes it 43-25. She's got 5 points now in this one. Cannon looks to drive at the other end. Whistle, and it's a foul going on Bryn Serbin. For Serbin, that's going to be her first, just the third team foul, however, of the half. So the Purple Raiders will inbound it here from underneath the basket. Day-Day Nash re-enters the ball game for Mount Union. So Hudick will inbound it here, gives it up to Nash. Nash now on the perimeter, swings it back out to Schlosser, who pump fakes, gives it out to Gretchen Koken. Koken swings it over to Emma Cannon. Cannon puts it on the floor here, looks to drive, fires up the mid-range, and gets it to go. Emma Cannon, 10 points now for Mount Union, makes it 43-27 with 33 seconds left to go in the half. Bryn Serbin walks it up the floor here. She's guarded by Allie Hudick. Gives it up to Nippen. So the Raiders once again out here in the zone. Abby Ackerman now swings the ball around the perimeter. As back over to Ackerman in the corner, she steps into a 3. That's no good. Rebound goes to Cannon. 9 seconds left to go in the quarter. Cannon now needs to push the pace. 5 seconds left. Cannon looks to drive with 2 seconds left. It's going to be a whistle and a jump ball. Possession arrow is in favor of Mount Union with 2.6 seconds left to go. Day-Day Nash is going to inbound it from underneath the basket. Nash needs to get that ball inbounds here. Instead, turns it over to Luersman, who's just going to hold the ball. And it was a dominant first half for the Polar Bears in this one, as Ohio Northern has jumped out to a 43-27 lead over your Mount Union Purple Raiders at the halftime break. Polar Bears shot 50% from the floor in that first half while hitting 8 3-pointers at a 53% clip. For the Purple Raiders, it was 33% field goal percentage for them as a team, 16% from the three-point line as well. As the leading scorer in that first half for Ohio Northern was Bryn Serbin, who has a new career high 22 points here at the halftime break. Mackenzie Soprano hit 2 3-pointers to have 6 points in that first half as well for Ohio Northern. And for your Purple Raiders, they in that first half were led by Gretchen Koken, who had 11 points for Mount Union. Emma Cannon added 10 points for the Purple Raiders as the Raiders head into the halftime break with a big deficit on their hands, trailing 43-27 in this one. We'll be back here on the women's basketball live stream for second half action momentarily. Back here on the women's basketball live stream, getting you ready for second half action between your Mount Union Purple Raiders and the Ohio Northern Polar Bears. Currently the Polar Bears leading by a score of 43-27 here at the halftime break. As of course the Polar Bears were led in that first half by Bryn Serbin, who has a game high 22 points. It's also a career high now for Serbin, as she was all over the floor there for the Polar Bears, really pushing Ohio Northern out to a big lead, as Gretchen Koken led the Raiders in that first half with 11 points. Emma Cannon finished with 10 points for Mount Union, as the Purple Raiders so far in this one have struggled shooting the ball. They're shooting just 33% from the floor, 16% from the three-point line, while the Polar Bears shooting exactly 50% overall from the floor, 53% from downtown, as Mount Union finds themselves in a 16-point deficit. Of course, it's been a very busy day, like how I mentioned at the top of this broadcast, across Mount Union Athletics, as the football team clinched a spot in the Stag Bowl for the first time since 2018 in a back-and-forth affair, 34-31 victory over Wartburg. In that one, they will play the winner of North Central Mary Hardin Baylor in the Stag Bowl on Friday. So congratulations there to the football team. And then, of course, men's basketball as well. In game one of a doubleheader here today at the MAC, came away with the big-time victory, 89-71 over the Ohio Northern Polar Bears as well. As in that victory, Colin Gurley led the Raiders with 21 points, while Christian Parker and Jeffrey Mansfield each added 13 points for Mount Union, who shot 60% overall from the floor and putting up the 89 points and improving to 7-1 on the season. Women's basketball team here, if they are able to come away with the victory, looking to go back over the 500 mark, as they currently find themselves 4-4 here in the young season, 1-1 overall in OAC play, as the Purple Raider women's basketball team will be back in action in 10 days on December the 20th at Ohio Wesleyan. So trying to get a victory here today. It's going to take a comeback here in the second half, as the starting five out there for Ohio Northern, it's Bryn Serbin, Casey Nippon, Layla Dials, Abby Ackerman, and Kristen Luersman. And for the Purple Raiders, it's Bailey Schutza, Michaela Dunkel, my apologies, Ali Hudick, Emma Cannon, and Gretchen Koken. As the Polar Bears have the ball to start this second half, it's Nippon who steps into a three, and she gets it to go. The Polar Bears with their 9th three-pointer in this one. 46-27 Ohio Northern. Emma Cannon now on the perimeter here with it. Gives it up to Hudick. Hudick tries to feed it down low inside. It's a tipped pass, stolen away by the Polar Bears. As at the other end, Nippon goes up for the layup. It's 5 quick points for Ohio Northern. 48-27. Bailey Schutza now has it. Gives it up to Hudick on the perimeter. Hudick looks to drive. Gives it up to Koken. Koken now on the perimeter. Swings it over to Dunkel as the Raiders move the ball around the perimeter. Hudick now tries to feed it down low inside to Cannon, but it's stolen away by Serbin. Serbin looks to go the other way with it. Goes up for the shot. Can't get it to go. Nice defense by Koken as she's pushed from behind. It's going to draw the over-the-back foul here. Ball will go back to the Purple Raiders. Raiders with some quick substitutions. Day Nash, Hallie Ignacio, and Madison Hensley all re-enter the ballgame, as that personal foul was on Kristen Luersman, her team's first of the quarter. So Day Nash, fresh off that Mount Union bench, walks it across the half-court timeline. Gives it up to Michaela Dunkel in the high post. Dunkel loses the ball momentarily. It's a jump ball. Possession arrow in favor of the Raiders. So they'll keep possession here. 14 seconds on the shot clock. Well, correction, 19 seconds here, as Nash will inbound it here to Dunkel. Dunkel feeds it down low inside to a cutter in Madison Hensley. Can't quite finish. Rebound goes to Nippon. Bryn Serbin walks it up the floor now for the Polar Bears. Takes a screen from Kristen Luersman. That was met by Ignacio, and it's taken away there by Madison Hensley. Great defense by the Purple Raiders. Hensley looks to go coast to coast. Draws the personal here on Serbin. It's going to be her second personal, team second. And Hensley heads to the line now for 2. So Ohio Northern has went to the free throw line a lot of times so far here today. They're 9 for 13 overall. This will be just free throw attempts number 3 and 4 for Mount Union. Hensley's first free throw is no good. Score will remain 48-27 Polar Bears. As the senior from Blacklick, Ohio, can't hit the second one as well. Score will remain 48-27 as Layla Dials walks it up the floor. Dials gives it up to Luersman. Luersman now looking where to go with it, puts it on the floor, hands it off to Dials. Dials now looks to drive, swings it back out to Nippon. Nippon tried to feed Luersman down low inside, but nice defense by Dunkel as she knocks that ball out of bounds. Ball will remain here with Ohio Northern. 10 seconds on the shot clock, 8:02 on the game clock. Sermon looks to inbound it here. Ball once again knocked out of bounds by Dunkel. Will remain Polar Bear basketball. Inbound here from Sermon. She gives it up to Luersman, who drives baseline. It's blocked by Dunkel. A nice play there from the freshman. It's Hensley tries to bring the ball up the floor here, loses the ball momentarily, and a dive for the possession. Hensley's going to draw the personal here. That one's going on Abby Ackerman, her second, team's third. So with 7:50 left to go in this third quarter, Raiders inching closer and closer to the bonus. As Hensley will get set to inbound. Hensley gives it up here to Day-Day Nash in the backcourt. So sophomore guard walks it up the floor. Gives it up to Hensley. Hensley drives and goes up for the shot, but it's blocked by Luersman. Ackerman gives it up to Sermon. A nice cross-court pass to Nippon, who steps into a three and gets it to go. Holding the form is Casey Nippon. She's got 13 points now. 51-27. Susie Vanette takes a timeout here. 7:25 left to go in this third quarter. It's been all Ohio Northern here today. Haley Haywood and Emma Cannon will get set to re-enter the ballgame for the Purple Raiders, as will Audrey Livesay out of the timeout. But Ohio Northern showing why they're undefeated in OAC play, and 6-1 in the early season so far here this year. It's currently holding a 24-point advantage. Taking a look at some scores from around the OAC here today. A surprising finish and final, really. Earlier today, Capital defeated John Carroll by a score of 74-48. Blue Streaks came into today's matchup with the Capital Comets, undefeated in OAC play, but they lose by 26 in that matchup. Bolden Wallace and Marietta currently tied at 17 at the halftime break. Otterbein on top of Muskingum 45-35 in the third quarter, and Heidelberg on top of Wilmington 36-25. As Day-Day Nash hands it off here on the perimeter to Haley Haywood, gives it back to Nash. Nash now out to Koken. 12 seconds on the shot clock here for the Raiders as Emma Cannon now gives it up to Livesay. Livesay puts it on the floor, looks to drive, loses the ball momentarily. 4 seconds on the shot clock, gives it out to Koken, steps back, fires up a three. It's short, and a collision right there going for the rebound. But that ball just bounces out of bounds. We'll go back to the Polar Bears. Serban brings it up the floor now for Ohio Northern. As Serban now looks to drive, swings it over in the corner to Ackerman, who steps into a three, can't get it to go. Follows her own shot though, goes up for the rebound. Can't get the putback to go. Dials now grabs the miss. Third shot here for the Polar Bears. That one's no good by Nippon. Day-Day Nash push the pace here for the Purple Raiders. As Haywood gives it up to Livesay. Livesay puts it on the floor, has it taken away by Nippon. Coming the other way with it is Ohio Northern. Luersman shuffles her shoes on that one, turns the ball right back over to the Purple Raiders. So far in this second half, Mount Union yet to score a basket in the first 3.5 minutes of this quarter. Ohio Northern on an 8-0 run to open this second half. They push out to their biggest lead here today as Day-Day Nash gives it up to Cannon. Emma Cannon now gives it over to Livesay. Livesay now at the top of the key. Finds a cutter in Haley Haywood. A nice pass down low inside. Haywood can't get it to go, but she draws the personal. And that will send Haley Haywood to the free throw line. That foul is going to go on Abby Ackerman, her third personal, team's fourth of the quarter. Grace Steen, Mackenzie Soprano check back in for the Polar Bears. It's Haley Haywood, the sophomore from Barberton, Ohio, can't get the first free throw to go. Score will remain 51-27. Second free throw is good, however. Raiders with their first point of the second half make it 51-28 Ohio Northern. Soprano will walk it up the floor here, guarded closely by Emma Cannon. Serban now swings it over cross court to Casey Nippen. Back over to Serban at the top of the key. Serban will give this one up on the perimeter now. She gets the ball right back here. Serban will step into another three. Gets another three to go. And Bryn Serban continues her hot day here. 25 points now for Serban. 8 for 10 from the floor, 6 for 7 from downtown here tonight. At the other end, nearly comes away with the steal, but that ball's knocked out of bounds. Will remain Purple Raider basketball as Sierra Schlosser checks back in for Mount Union, as does Peyton Warnicki for Ohio Northern. Late substitutions as well for the Purple Raiders, and Allie Hudick and Bailey Schutza. So Emma Cannon will inbound it here from right in front of the scorer's table. And Cannon inbounds it to Hudick. So around the perimeter the Raiders go here. Haley Haywood will give it up to Bailey Schutza. Schutza looks to drive, goes up for the layup, can't get it to go. Rebound to the Polar Bears. Serban pushes the pace here once more, looks to drive, swings it out on the perimeter to Nippen, who steps into a three. It's short. Rebound, though, goes to Mackenzie Soprano, who swings it out to Serban. Thought about the threes, guarded closely here by Hudick. Now tries to feed it up in the high post, but we're going to get a whistle and a foul call here on Sierra Schlosser. Schlosser gets whistled for the personal. Her second, team's first. So Bryn Serban will get set to inbound it here. Serban now on the perimeter, looks to drive on Schutzer, tries to feed it down low inside to Soprano, but that pass is high. Out of bounds it goes, back over to the Purple Raiders. Layla Dials checks back in as Serban takes a seat. Schutzer brings it up the floor here. Freshman guard from Norton High School hands it off on the perimeter to Haley Haywood. Allie Hudick now has it on the perimeter. Back over to Haley Haywood. She gives it up to Schlosser, gives it up to a cutter and Emma Cannon. And Cannon, however, turns the ball right back over here. She gets called for the travel violation. And the ball will go here to the Polar Bears as Layla Dials brings it up the floor here. Double team by Haywood and Schutza. And great defense by the pair there. Forced a jump ball, possession arrow in favor of the Polar Bears. So Soprano inbounds it here for Ohio Northern. And they will say that Soprano actually steps inbounds, which of course is a violation there. So turnover for the Polar Bears, goes back here to Mount Union. 54-28 Ohio Northern as Sierra Schlosser now at the top of the key. Looking where to go with it, gives it up to Haywood, swings it back over to Emma Cannon. Cannon puts it on the floor here. We'll try to hand it back to Haley Haywood, who loses the ball, is just able to keep it in bounds. Schlosser now with 12 on the shot clock, gives it back to a cutter and Emma Cannon. Cannon fires up a contested shot at the free throw line, has it blocked. Polar Bears go the other way with it. Layla Dials now over here at the Mount Union logo, guarded closely by Schutza. Is going to draw the personal. Schutza is going to get whistled for her third personal foul, second team foul of the quarter. As Brooke Allen and Kristen Luersman re-enter the ballgame now for the Polar Bears. Around the perimeter they go. Luersman now with it. Puts it on the floor. Warneke now gives it up to Dials. Dials now with 5 on the shot clock. Needs to get a shot up here for Ohio Northern. Swings it over to Soprano, who fires up a 3. She can't get it to go. Fight for the rebound. It was last off the Raiders. Ball will remain with the Polar Bears with a fresh 20 seconds on the shot clock. Mount Union now down to just 28% from the floor in this one. 15% from downtown as Madison Hensley re-enters the ballgame for the Purple Raiders. Off the inbounds here, it's Luersman on the baseline. Luersman looks to put the spin move on Hensley. She goes up for the shot, can't get it to go. Fight for the rebound. Cannon tries to save it for Mount Union. The ball will go back here to Ohio Northern once more. Fresh 20 seconds on the shot clock. It'll be Warneke now, inbounding it from the corner. Referees have a discussion here on where exactly they will inbound the ball from. Warneke will remain in the corner here for the Polar Bears. Gives it up to Dials. Around the perimeter they go once more to Luersman. Steps into a 3. Banks it in. The bank is open for Kristen Luersman. 57-28 Ohio Northern. Shutza gives it up to Hensley. Thought about the 3. Puts it on the floor. Draws the personal. This one's going on Peyton Warneke. Her first penalty situation. Hensley's going to head to the line now for 2. Bryn Serban and Jada Benjamin check back in for Ohio Northern. Hensley's first free throw is up and good, 57-29. Second free throw is up and good, 57-30. Raiders look to continue to cut into the lead here. As Bryn Serban now brings it up the floor for the Polar Bears. The freshman guard Bailey Shutza defends her here as Madison Hensley now switches off on Serban. Around the perimeter they go to Benjamin. Benjamin gives it back up top to Brooke Allen. So Polar Bears look for a shot here. Serban now looking where to go with it. Drives, swings it out to Benjamin. It's 3 seconds on the shot clock. Benjamin will give it up to Soprano. Great ball movement. Here's Luersman. Gets the layup to go as the shot clock expires. 59-30 Polar Bears. Hensley gives it up to Schlosser. Schlosser back over now to Emma Cannon. Cannon will give it up to Schlosser on the perimeter. Schlosser tries to feed it cross court over to Hudick. That ball is deflected, however, off Ali Hudick. Ball goes back to the Polar Bears. So some substitutions here for Mount Union. Day-Day Nash, Michaela Dunkel re-enter the ballgame, as does Gretchen Koken for the Purple Raiders. Mackenzie Soprano now brings the ball down the floor. Gives it up to Luersman as around the perimeter they go to Serban. Extra pass down low inside to Brooke Allen. Taken away momentarily by Hudick. Bodies go flying on the ground here. Whistle, jump ball, and it's a possession arrow in favor of the Raiders. So Mount Union will come the other way with it here. It's Hallie Ignacio re-enters the ball game for Mount Union. Day-Day Nash crosses the half-court timeline here. Minute 40 left to go in this third quarter. Ignacio now with it. She puts it on the floor, gives it back to Nash. Nash gives it up to Hudick. Hudick back over to Dunkel. Now over to Ignacio in the corner. 8 seconds on the shot clock here for Ignacio. As she gives it up to Nash. 4 seconds. 3 seconds here. And Koken fires up a contested 3. It's blocked. Rebound to Luersman. Serbin looks to push the pace for Ohio Northern. She gives it up to Benjamin. Dribbles into a triple team, now swings it back over to Serbin. Serbin takes a screen now from Lewisman. Looks to drive, feeds it down low inside to Brooke Allen. She can't quite finish. However, Serbin grabs the offensive board, gives it right back to Brooke Allen, who goes up for the shot, and a whistle. And I believe they're going to get Brooke Allen with an offensive foul as Michaela Dunkel took an elbow to the face. Referees are going to talk things over here. So it will indeed be a foul on Ohio Northern. We'll go on Brooke Allen for a shot to the face. It's good to see Michaela Dunkel get back up quickly after that one. The head referee heads over to the sidelines here, talks to both coaches and the scorers table. And so they will actually signal that will be flagrant foul right there on Ohio Northern for the shot to the face. So that's 2 free throws and the ball here for Mount Union. Hudick hits the first free throw and hits the second. So Mount Union makes it 59-32, courtesy of 2 free throws from Hudick, like I mentioned. With that foul, I will give the Raiders the ball back here. 59 seconds left to go in the quarter. Raiders looking to find a bucket here. Just 5 points in the quarter for Mount Union. They've yet to hit a field goal in this second half. As Ignacio now with it, gives it up to Koken. Koken puts it on the floor, looks to drive, feeds it back out to Hudick, who steps into a 3, and there it is. There is the 3. Allie Hudick knocks it down. It's 59-35. Hudick has 9 points now in this one. Serbin walks it up the floor here for Ohio Northern. She's just going to dribble out the clock. Has about a 10-second difference between shot clock and game clock. Benjamin now with it. Gives it up to Serbin. Serbin over to Lewisman. Back over to Benjamin, who steps into a 3. And Jada Benjamin's 3 is no good. Rebound, though, to Brooke Allen. She can't get the second chance points to go. Grabs another board, and this time, Brooke Allen, persistence pays off. She draws the personal. This one's going on Michaela Dunkel. It's her third, team's third. Out of bounds here for the Polar Bears from underneath the basket. Shot clock is turned off. So with 9 seconds left to go here in the quarter, Benjamin feeds it down low to Lewisman. Extra pass over to Serbin, who steps into another 3. This time it's long, no good. Rebound to Hudick. 1 second left in the quarter, and she can't quite get that half-court heave up in time. Nonetheless, Ohio Northern with another big quarter there finds themselves on top here. 59-35 at the end of 3 quarters. Polar Bears outscore the Purple Raiders 16-8 in that quarter. As overall, in that third quarter alone, Ohio Northern, they did shoot just 33% from the floor, 40% from deep, however, shooting 4 for 10 in the quarter from downtown. Ohio Northern also out-rebounded Mount Union 14-4 in that quarter as the Purple Raiders shot just 1 for 7 overall from the floor, 1 for 3 from downtown. However, they were getting to the free throw line a lot more than they did in that first half. 5 for 8 from the free throw line in that third quarter for the Purple Raiders. Overall, so far in this game, Mount Union shooting just 30% from the floor, while the Polar Bears are shooting 43% overall, including 48% from downtown for Ohio Northern on 12 for 25 from downtown in this game. And for the Purple Raiders, they're shooting just 4 for 21 from the three-point line, good for 19%. The Raiders shooting 70% overall from the free throw line, 69% for the Polar Bears, who have out-rebounded Mount Union here this afternoon, 35-21. Turnovers have been fairly even as well. Ohio Northern with 11 turnovers, Purple Raiders with just 10. Mount Union with 4 assists in this game, 13 assists so far for the Polar Bears. As Ohio Northern on top, 59-35 in this one, courtesy of Bryn Serbin with 25 points. She walks it up the floor here now for Ohio Northern. As Grace Dean now has it for the Polar Bears. She gives it back over to Serbin as Serbin swings it over to Dials. Dials now swings it over to Serbin as they move the ball around the perimeter. 11 seconds on the shot clock. It's Casey Nippen pulling things back here. She gives it up to Grace Dean. Dean puts it on the floor with 4 seconds on the shot clock. Now 3. Serban needs to get up a shot. Fires up a prayer. Can't get it to go. And since it doesn't hit the rim there, it's a shot clock violation. So ball will go back here to the Raiders. Bailey Schutza re-enters the ball game for Mount Union as Day-Day Nash heads over towards the bench. The Schutza, Emma Cannon, Michaela Dunkel, Gretchen Koken, and Allie Hudick. The starting 5 out on the floor for the Purple Raiders. As Cannon now on the perimeter. Picks up her dribble, gives it up to Gretchen Koken. Koken back over to Hudick now. Hudick looks to drive, fires up the mid-range, can't get it to go. Rebound, however, on the floor. Emma Cannon diving for it, and she comes away with it. Great hustle there by Cannon as she gives it up to Hudick. Around the perimeter, the Raiders go here. Schutza back over to Cannon, feeds it down low inside. That pass just too high, however, for Koken. Out of bounds, it will go back here to the Polar Bears. Abby Ackerman will walk it up the floor now for Ohio Northern. Guarded closely here by Emma Cannon. Gives it up to Casey Nippen, who finds Grace Dean on the perimeter. Dean now gives it up to Dials. She looks to drive here. Dials picks up her dribble, gives it up to Serban, looks to drive. That shot is blocked right there by Schutza, my apologies. As Cannon now with it, gives it up to Dunkel. Dunkel back over to Schutza, gives it up to Koken. Koken now on the perimeter. Swings it back over to Dunkel. He swings it now back over to Schutza. Schutza now down low inside, gives it up to Koken in the post. Koken goes up for the shot. That one's blocked by Casey Nippen. Abby Ackerman pushes the pace here now for Ohio Northern. She gives it up to Bryn Serban, who goes up for the layup. Can't get it to go. Rebound to Dunkel. The freshman Bailey Schutza pushes the pace here for the Raiders. Gives it up to Hudick, whose pass intended right there for Gretchen Koken is intercepted. So the Polar Bears now with it. Abby Ackerman now looks to drive, and she is bodied right there by Michaela Dunkel. It's going to be Dunkel's 4th personal foul, first of the quarter. She takes a seat. Madison Hensley re-enters the ballgame for the Purple Raiders. Neither team yet to score here in this 4th and final period. With 7:43 left to go in the contest. As Serban steps into another 3, that time it's no good. Fight for the rebound. Grace Dean comes up with it for Ohio Northern. Ackerman swings it over to Serban. Serban pulls it out here for the Polar Bears, looks to drive, kicks it back over in the corner to Ackerman. Her foot was out of bounds, however. Ball goes back to the Purple Raiders. Haley Haywood re-enters the ballgame for Mount Union. Emma Cannon will take a seat here. Schutza walks it up the floor for the Purple Raiders. Schutza gives that ball up to Hudick, who tries to find Gretchen Koken. Koken loses the ball, however. And ball will be last off the Polar Bears here. Will remain Purple Raider basketball. 16 seconds on the shot clock, 7:08 on the game clock. Koken has it on the perimeter, hands it off to Hudick. Hudick now back over to Koken. Koken finds Bailey Schutza up here at the top of the key, swings it over to Hudick. Hudick steps into a 3. It's long, no good. Offensive rebound to Gretchen Koken. She can't get it to go, and that's a shot clock violation on the Purple Raiders. Ball heads back to the Polar Bears. Substitution here for Mount Union. Hallie Ignacio checks back in for the Purple Raiders. It's Ignacio applying pressure here to Layla Dials. Dials picks up her dribble, gives it up to Serban. Nearly a backcourt violation there. As Serban now looking where to go with it. She drives, kicks it out to an open man in Layla Dials. She fires up the 3. It's no good. Fight for the rebound. It was last off the Polar Bears. A very defensive 4th quarter here. Still no points scored from either squad with 6:29 left to go in this 4th quarter. As Soprano checks back in here for Ohio Northern, as does Warnicki and Kristen Luersman. As for Mount Union, Sierra Schlosser checks back in for the Purple Raiders. As Haywood steps into a three, that one's blocked on the perimeter by Warnicki. And Ackerman now tries to go the other way with it, but loses possession of the ball. Raiders will regain the possession. So it'll be Bailey Schutza bringing the ball up the floor here now. Schutza looks to drive, now swings it out on the corner to Ignacio. Schlosser now with it, gives it back over to Schutza. Schutza thought about the three, instead gives it up to a cutter, and Madison Hensley, whose layup is no good. Rebound to the Polar Bears. Bryn Serbin walks it up the floor now for ONU. As Serbin looks to drive, swings it over in the corner to Ackerman. A whistle, and Madison Hensley draws the charging foul here. She's slow to get up after the play, however. She took quite the hit there from Bryn Serbin. She's going to get whistled for her third personal foul. Hensley is able to get up under her own power, which is great to see there. First team foul of the quarter as well for the Polar Bears, but Hensley's going to take a seat on the bench. Emma Cannon re-enters the ballgame for Mount Union. It's Bailey Schutza. Walks the ball up the floor, tries to feed it to Emma Cannon. Simply can't catch the pass right there. Ball goes out of bounds, back to the Polar Bears. Very defensive here in this fourth and final period. So it's 59-35 after 3 quarters. And with 5:32 left to go in this one, it remains 59-35. As Ackerman now on the perimeter gives it up to Bryn Serbin. And Serbin looks to take a screen here from Luersman. Serbin looks to drive, swings it out on the perimeter to Soprano, whose three is long. Rebound to Ackerman. Ohio Northern with the extra possession here. 3 seconds on the shot clock. Serbin's three is no good. Ackerman tries to go up for the shot once more. A whistle. We'll see if that foul was committed before the shot clock expired. If that's the case, Ackerman's heading to the free throw line for 2. And they will indeed say that the foul occurred right before the shot clock expired. Foul's going on Hallie Ignacio, her first, team's first. Abby Ackerman looks to put the first points on the board for either squad here in this fourth quarter at the free throw line. First free throw is good, as the sophomore guard from Lahaina, Hawaii makes it 60-35 in favor of the Polar Bears. Second free throw is good as well. 61-35 Polar Bears here. Some substitutions for Ohio Northern. Jada Benjamin, Noelle Ruane, and Kenzie Fueling enter the ball game here for the Polar Bears. It's Ignacio now with it. She takes a screen from Haley Haywood, swings it over to Schlosser. It's Emma Cannon now on the perimeter. Looks to drive. Cannon spins, fires up the mid-range shot. Back of the rim, no good. Rebound to the Polar Bears. Jada Benjamin walking it up the floor here. She gives it up to Noelle Ruane. It's around the perimeter they go here to Warnicki. Warnicki now looks to drive, goes up for the shot. Draws the whistle. Peyton Warnicki's going to head to the free throw line now for 2. That one's going on Sierra Schlosser. It's going to be her third, team's third. Substitutions here now for the Purple Raiders. Audrey Livesay and Day-Day Nash re-enter the ball game. As Peyton Warnicki has 2 free throw attempts here. 4:33 left to go in this one. Warnicki's first free throw is up and good. 62-35 Polar Bears. Second free throw is up and good as well. 28-point lead for Ohio Northern. Mount Union looking for their first point still here in this fourth quarter. Susie Vanette's going to call a timeout here. 4:31 left to go in this one. Polar Bears on top, 63-35. As so far today, Ohio Northern has shot 37% from the floor, 40% from downtown, hitting 12 three-pointers in the process, 13 for 17 from the free throw line, good for 76%, while Mount Union has shot just 12 for 47 from the floor. That's good for just 25% overall, 4 for 23 from downtown, 17% from deep for the Purple Raiders, 70% from the free throw line as well. Mount Union has also been out-rebounded here in this one, 42-27, as the Polar Bears here with the 28-point lead are in full control. Again, Bryn Serbin, her night is done. She has a new career high for the Polar Bears, 25 points in this one. She hit 6 three-pointers in this contest. She also added 5 assists and 4 rebounds for Ohio Northern. She's really sparked this offense so far today. For your Purple Raiders, Gretchen Koken so far is the leading scorer with 11 points in this one. Emma Cannon has 10 points for Mountain Union. Allie Hudick with 9. So Day Nash will inbound it here for the Purple Raiders. She gives it up to Bailey Schutza. Schutza gives it up to Ignacio. Ignacio takes a screen from Livesay, tries to feed it down low inside, but that pass is wide. Ball goes back to the Polar Bears. So Jada Benjamin walks up the floor, gives it up to Ruane. Ruane gives it up now to Peyton Warnicki. Warnicki hands that ball off on the perimeter to Jada Benjamin. Schutza, however, nearly comes away with the steal. The Raider defense comes away with the turnover eventually here as Day Nash now looks to push the pace the other way. Swings it out in the corner to Ignacio. Ignacio feeds Livesay down low in the post. She draws the double team here. Looking baseline, gives it back to Ignacio. Thought about the shot, loses it momentarily. Day Nash picks it up here. 13 seconds on the shot clock. Nash swings it over to Schutza, nearly taken away. 9 seconds on the shot clock. Schutza fires up a 3. It's no good. Doesn't hit the rim either, so that ball goes out of bounds. Polar Bears will take over. 3:35 left to go here in this fourth quarter. Ohio Northern is going to improve to 7-1 here with the victory. 3-0 overall in OAC play. Purple Raiders are going to drop to 4-5, 1-2 in OAC play. As the 3 ball is up there for the Polar Bears. Noelle Ruane's shot is going to get waved off, however, as we have an offensive foul called on Ohio Northern. So that whistle is going to go against Mackenzie Soprano, her first, team second. Mount Union comes the other way with it. Nash gives it up to Schutza. Schutza takes a screen here from Sierra Schlosser, gives it up to Livesay. Livesay back over to Hallie Ignacio now. Ignacio swings it back to Schlosser. Back over to Schutza now on the perimeter. As now it's Day Nash here. Nash looks to drive, goes up for the shot and gets it to go. Day Nash's floater makes it 63-37 Polar Bears. Ohio Northern here at the other end. Moves that ball around the perimeter. It's Soprano stepping into another 3. And the third three-pointer of the afternoon there for Mackenzie Soprano as the freshman guard makes it 66-37 Polar Bears. Ignacio now with it. Gives it up to Schlosser on the perimeter. Now over to Schutza. Schutza puts it on the floor here. Looks to drive. Swings it out to Nash. Extra pass over to Ignacio who steps into a 3. Can't get it to go. Rebound though goes to Day Nash. Her putback's no good. Rebound to the Polar Bears. It's just been one of those days here for the Purple Raiders. Can't seem to buy a bucket. Just 10 second half points for Mount Union here today. As Soprano now with it, she looks to drive, swings it out on the perimeter. As Fueling gives it back over to Soprano. And Soprano now with 11 points in this one, makes it 68-37. Susie Vanette will call a timeout here once more. The Purple Raiders trailing by 31 in this one. It's just a minute 41 left to go here. Once again, however, it's been a busy day. Mount Union Athletics here today. men's basketball team winning the first game of today's doubleheader 89-71 over the Ohio Northern Polar Bears. And of course, the Mountain Union football team coming away with a dramatic 34-31 win, courtesy of a Tyler Echeverry 3-yard touchdown run with 31 seconds left to go in that contest to clinch a spot in next week's National Championship Stag Bowl. As Purple Raiders go for title number 14 next week. It's always a great day to see Mountain Union Athletics in full force here this afternoon, as it'll be Purple Raider basketball out of the timeout. Some substitutions for the Purple Raiders. As Haley Haywood re-enters the ballgame, as does the freshman forward Sierra Horney, seeing her first action here this afternoon. It's Day-Day Nash here. Around the perimeter, gives it up to Ignacio. Ignacio takes a screen from Horney and gives it up to Schlosser. Haley Haywood now with it. Haywood around the perimeter. They go to Horney, who gives it up to Nash. Nash steps into a mid-range shot here, can't get it to go. Rebound goes to the Polar Bears. A minute 16 left to go here at the MAC. 31-point Ohio Northern lead. Warneke looks to drive, kicks it out here as they move the ball around the perimeter. Benjamin now looks to drive, swings it over in the corner. It's Noel Lorraine who fires up the three, can't get it to go. Rebound to Day-Day Nash. Nash now gets into the paint, swings it out to Haley Haywood, whose shot is no good. Rebound to the Polar Bears. It's Jada Benjamin. Walks it across the half-court timeline here. About an 18-second difference between shot clock and game clock. As Ohio Northern once again is going to improve to 7-1 here on the season. Exclamation point there for the Polar Bears. Kenzie Fueling, the freshman guard from Decatur, Indiana, hits a three, 71-37. Day-Day Nash gives it up to Haley Haywood here. Shot clock is turned off. Haywood gives it up to Horney. Stolen away by Warneke. And Warneke is just going to pull things out here for the Polar Bears, as they are just going to let this clock run out with 5 seconds left to go in this one. A big-time win for Ohio Northern as they come away with a 71-37 victory. Mountain Union will drop to 4-5 on this young season. And once again, the Raiders will be back in action on December the 20th at Ohio Wesleyan, looking to rebound from today's defeat. Taking a look at the final stats here this afternoon, Ohio Northern shot 40% from the floor and 42% from downtown, hitting 14 threes in the process. Mountain Union just 24% from the field, 16% from downtown, 4 for 25 in this game, as Ohio Northern also out-rebounded Mountain Union 46-29 in this one, proving to be a difference maker here today. Just taking a look at the final stat leaders for both squads. Leading the way for Ohio Northern was Bryn Serbin with 25 points in this game. Also, Casey Nippen added 13 points. Mackenzie Soprano had 11 for the Polar Bears. For your Purple Raiders, they were led by Gretchen Koken, who had 11 points for Mount Union. Emma Cannon finished with 10 points. Ali Hudick with 9, as the Purple Raiders will fall here this afternoon by a final score of 71-37. So the women's team once again drops to 4-5 now on the year. They will be back in action on December 20th at Ohio Wesleyan. So signing off here from the MAC, I'm Jacob Batar. As always, it's a great day to be a Purple Raider.